Uganda, part of Africa. You are watching Fix It in 5.
Fix It in 5. Love and neuroscience, find a way to make them jive. Fix It in 5.
Kugwazi zino zonna enkunsumulaba zino zonna muno nsobola kuzisaako basina nkola gyenyinza kukola n'enfuna sebeera
Aww. I was in Kenya once. Actually, the Kenya memory, I drank cow's blood. Okay, who wants? That's enough for me. Finished. Hopefully it's not quite that challenging. What do you think, Dar? Should I go to Uganda? Yeah? You think so? Can you believe that? American Top 40 Countdown with Ryan Seacrest. No way.
Previously on Fix It in 5.
Yuka. Does she stop talking, stop thinking for a minute like this? Look at laba, laba. Does she do this? The sensory information can stop the seizure sometimes. Okay, it's okay. No, let her go, let her go. Don't force. The biggest trigger is stress. So if she's afraid, if she thinks she's in trouble, it makes it worse.
There are some types of seizures where she should not be using this medicine. But if she is lying to the doctor doesn't know that.
What do you mean lying to her? What is she saying?
Like she keeps like distracting her.
No, don't distract. Your game is the ball? My game is the computer. Sometimes the computer makes you feel relaxed and happy and loving. Only have so much battery, so we have to conserve. Because there's no electricity, right? Okay.
I was going to have to connect Milly with electricity. I initially thought it was easy. I thought that the community center would work out just fine. It's right next to her house. But the community center already has its own ideas about what its purpose is. And its purpose is not special needs children.
Trisca? Trisca. I will come back on Saturday.
Electricity wasn't an option at the community center, so we were going to have to cast the net wider. I asked David to, put out the word, say there's a white lady from the United States and she wants to help brains. See what happens. Tell the people at church, tell all his friends, and see if we can meet somebody. And before you know it, we get a call that the chancellor's interested.
I just called the guy and he said the chancellor is there on Friday.
Because this is important. I think it might be a part of the solution for her.
The chancellor says, hey, my nephew is autistic. I'd love to meet her. She's written a book. She's American. She must know what she's doing. That was step one. We met the chancellor. And he wasn't interested in helping Milly at all. But he was interested in helping his nephew. And what I know is you just keep following the trail that comes up in front of you. So we met the nephew, met Sean, and he was adorable. And really liked to smell hair, smelled everybody's hair. And when we left, wanted to make a connection with me, so he took off his shoe and gave me his foot. And I had my hand out the window of the van, and I'm holding his foot, saying, goodbye, sweet friend. And then Margaret, Sean's mother, wanted me to meet the school, who wanted me to meet parents.
Hey,
That is a new student.
It's nice to meet you. Yeah. Oh, wow, and yours? You guys sound like you have the same name. Okay, if you move your lips more, I'll be able to understand. Tell me again. Oh, you're smiling too much. Are you cleaning the bathroom? Are you going to the bathroom?
From the bathroom.
May I say hi? Thank you, George. I appreciate it. Thank you. My name's Lynette. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for looking. All right? I'll see you later. Bye. Thank you for saying bye. And we're just going everywhere in search of electricity and support and a doctor for Milly. So I brought my nurse with me and I said, hey, look, here's a community center with a lot of little cute kids. You can help out. I figured that'd be awesome, and it was. She just fell in love with all the kids, and they fell in love with her, and so they decided that she could help set up a clinic. I was like, fantastic. I didn't know that the clinic was about vaccinations. That was a surprise. Do you know who I am, or why I'm here, or why you should even listen to me? In the end, I think we might meet everyone in Uganda. I just want to know a sense of, do you know who I am, or why you should even listen to me? Do you know anything, or do I start from the beginning?
Well, I just know your name.
My name, that's a good start. That's a good start. Hello, my name is Lynette Louise. The brain brought as the Google gods. How do we fix that? My name is Lynette. So last night, I had to look up on Google. When I was young, a child, I had what's called sensory integration disorder. Do you know what that is? I had to look up on Google some of the meds that the little girl is taking, and her name is Trisca, and we are in Uganda. Many years later, I talked to a psychiatrist to see what they thought they would have called me, because they didn't have that diagnosis back then, and they said I was Asperger's. So that puts me on the spectrum of autism, only I'm not anymore. When I was becoming a mom, I adopted many children. So I had 2 children, and then I adopted 6. 4 of the 6 children I adopted were autistic. They were autistic, they had fetal alcohol syndrome, you know this? Retardation, and one of the boys also had Tourette's syndrome. But that didn't come until later. So they were multiply handicapped. Okay, what's that word again for good morning? What's the so? Last night I went through everything with a translator. I'm like, okay, you have to say everything exactly the way I say it. I get him all ready for today, and I show up and he's not here. I have a new guy. Say it one more time for me. That's all right. Just like here, some people say it's witchcraft. Back then, they said it was refrigerator mother. So they said the mom wasn't loving enough, she was cold, she didn't hug enough, so the children hid inside their brain. I have never ever worked with somebody and not learned something. They were still pinching and slapping the children to make them listen and learn. They were still using cattle prods, very cruel things that they were doing to try to teach. So I entered the world as a parent with these children to try to figure out how to help them, of course. I looked to the professionals. Every time you think you're helping someone else, walk away going, oh my gosh, they helped me so much. And I would try some of the stuff they told me to do. I remember one time, my one boy, I was pinching his shoulder to make him pick up a fork instead of a spoon. And my nail dug in a little, and there was a little blood started to come. And I thought, I cannot not teach my children this way. And by the way, it's the last skill that son got. He never picked up a fork for years and years. He could do everything else, but he stubbornly refused to pick up a fork because I was so forceful. So I quickly looked around to see if Relena was there, but I couldn't see any sign of her, which is weird because the guys had dropped her off earlier. turns out Relena had gone to get immunization stuff. They needed her nursing license, and were using her nursing license in order to run this clinic.
What a nice tummy.
Which would be okay, except that vaccinations are extremely controversial when it comes to autism.
So I started to try to learn many other ways. I researched many things, and lots of them were foolish and silly, just like now. Lots of the ideas are still foolish and silly. See, but it at least began to be more reward-based.
He's looking for Relena, I think.
They were mostly using a thing called ABA, or behavior modification. I don't know if you've heard of this term, but it just means constant practice. The child sits at the table, you ask them to say something, you give them a raisin when they get it right, or you give them their toy, then you take it away, then you ask again, then you give them something, then you take it away, then you ask again, and it's lots and lots and lots and lots of practice. It was still cruel, because they were still picking them up in, like they would do this thing where they would put their thumbs in the armpits when they picked them up and sat them in the chair, so that it would be uncomfortable to get out of the chair.
Trisca! Oi,
I still have no idea that these children kneel when they're greeting you. Poor Trisca's completely confused by me. She gets down to say hello, and I get down to say hello, and she has to run over to somebody else.
I need a translator.
Oh, Kununugia?
Kamuma? Kamuma.
Oh, your belly! Oh, and you've got a belly button.
When the translator doesn't tell me she's saying breast, I think she's saying belly.
My belly button, belly button. Say, look! Oh, good, look. Okay, now you just talk without making her look at you. Let me touch the belly button. She's there.
Today, I don't have to lead Trisca up the hill. She leads me up the hill.
Let's just carry it.
At this point, they realized that it wasn't from refrigerator mothers. They started to understand it wasn't children hiding inside their brains. It was just children who couldn't learn the same way as everyone else.
Oh, it's slippery today.
Let's solve that problem right off the bat. I'm just gonna go barefoot. I was at this point being one kind of mom in the summer when there was no school. Very encouraging, very loving, in the home when no one's looking. Very bossy and demanding when we were outside or at school, because that's what I was supposed to do, right? And so my poor children, they go, oh, well, we like mom at home, but when we go out, she's not so good.
This is awesome. Thank you. Weberly.
So if I say it in Ugandan, you don't have to say it again. And so I have this wonderful story I like to tell, because I felt like I had turned into these two people. There was this point, my children were growing and growing. They were learning a little bit. One boy wasn't learning anything. He was a lot like the one going, I'll see you later. Now, my son, whenever he saw old people, he liked to jump and scream really loud and go in their face to see if they would have a heart attack or get scared, right? Because it was funny. And then he'd hit himself in the face a couple times.
Trisanya? Did you get one back?
So I learned to control him by going, Dar, stop! Right? Because that's how we're supposed to do it. And it works. He would stop. but then again, he wouldn't learn why. He would just be surprised by my voice enough to not jump, and then we'd get out of it. So most people leave their kids that are that big and that scary at home. Now my other children had changed quite a bit and were doing really well, but this one boy was big like that and very scary to people. Dungu! Ah! So I thought I'd need to take him out in public so he can learn. So I take him to the grocery store. And he loves to do it in the grocery store, by the way. He loves to jump and scream. And when I say scream, I mean loud and high, right? And jump big. Jago! So I'm walking through the grocery store, right? And I'm like, oh, please, no old people. Please, no old people. Please, please, please. Oh, shoot, here comes one. An old person is coming around the corner. I'm watching my son. I see his knees start to go, so I know I'm going to have to yell at him to stop or he's going to jump. But my daughter's with me. She just distracted me for a split second, and I missed the moment that I had to do the, "Dar, stop," right? So he jumps and screams, and the man goes like this, and he gets whiter than he already is, and he looks like he's going to pass out. And my daughter, she started to laugh, and she goes, "Oh, that's okay, don't worry. This is just my brother Dar. That's how he says hello. He's trying to say hello to you." And she says, you can shake his hand. Would you like to shake his hand?" And the man's color comes back in his face. And she takes her brother's hand, and she extends it to the man, and he goes, "Hello, Dar."
Feet are dirty. Let's go wash them. Let's go wash them. I think I will fall with the shoes on.
I'm watching my daughter. I'm going to cry, see? I was watching my daughter, and I was thinking of all these times that I would use, "Dar, stop," and controlling the kids this way. And I was upset that people were mean to my children. I was always upset that they were yelling at my children and mean to them. And in this moment, I realized that I had been teaching them that they didn't know what to do, so they saw me go, "Dar, stop," and they thought that was how they should be. And so they were copying me.
Because it's slippery. Can I put my feet in here?
So this was a changing day for me. That's when I knew it was my job to teach people the way I was at home. Because at home, my children learned to talk.
Oh, look though. It's dirty.
So I began to change how I learned, how I taught. I wanted today give you real gifts, things that you can actually use, things that will actually make a difference in your life today. That of those 4 boys, 3 are completely independent, 2 have wonderful careers. You know, they all drive, they all have homes. Now the one boy, the one whose shoulder I squeezed, was more low functioning. He's also the one that jumped and screamed. He still lives with me, and he probably always will.
It's gonna make her shoes dirty.
You put on, just put on.
Okay. That's very nice that you're taking.
I totally love that she's taking care of me and asking me to wear the shoes. What I don't realize is that she really is taking care of me. They have a bug called a jigger. It's horrible. I really need to get Milly more involved and connected, as she needs to be able to protect Trisca from seizures. I need her to stay and watch if she's going to learn what she needs to learn in such a short amount of time. Oh, the translator came. Yay! The problems here in Uganda are the same as the problems everywhere, like in the States or in Canada. It's my job to teach Milly to be playful.
Samba! You tricked me! Where are you going? Where are you going?
She only wants to play ball if her mom joins us.
Trisca, if you walk away, then I think we're finished. No more playing.
Always, always, always explain.
I guess we're finished.
Of course, if the translator doesn't translate what I said, I guess I didn't explain, but I tried.
See, you stopped, you walked away. So I thought we weren't playing. So I stopped and sat down with Mama. I want to ask Mama some questions, and then we can play again if you want.
Okujja kuwano eno wabeera yeebase ku ssaawa 3 azukka obudde bukedde kati wali yeebase ku ssaawa 2 n'azukka ku ssaawa 4 awo naddamu neyeebaka ku ssaawa 7 paka obudde bukedde nga talina kyabadde.
Then she slept again until 1 p.m. Then she woke up again. Then she slept again.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Very good.
All right. And what about her mood?
I explain to Trisca if I'm going to touch her or clean her ear. Milly just wipes her nose. That's what parents do. Explaining why the world shifts and changes is very important for somebody who has a processing disorder. Most people don't do this, and it leaves the kids confused.
Is it a very hot fever?
My first thought was, if she had a fever that quickly and for that short a time, maybe she has febrile seizures. Not epilepsy or something else, but something that she'll actually grow out of. That would be good news. I noticed that Trisca spaces out. She spaces out frequently. We didn't catch it on camera very often, but we got it a few times. The spacing out can actually be a small seizure. Some people call it absence seizure, some people call it petit mal.
Is there anything else you noticed that you want to tell me about?
Naye nagezezzaako okukola kye yaŋŋambye nga wadduka nga nnyimira ne muyita ne mugaakomawo n'akomawo.
Wow! Yay! Yay for Mama! Yay! Yay! We're happy!
She says that you're refusing. You're refusing to do what? She was checking you?
Refusing to play?
There
you go. When she does this, wake her up. Okay, that stuff I saw on her brain, if you can just wake her up, give her a little rub. A little scratch. Or a little tickle. It'll help her brain change it back to the way it should go. Just a tip.
By now, Mama's realized that I'm not a savior, just a teacher, and I'm just here to help. I probably won't buy her a house.
Why did you walk away? We're playing. Stay with me. Oh, I guess we're done. No more game. Oh, that's too bad.
Trisca seems to be absent from play itself, at least play with me today. Her life skills, however, are completely ingrained. So what seems to be interesting to her is cleaning her shoes and washing the baby, things that she sees her mother do.
I'll clean them when I'm done. It's okay. I'm just gonna get it dirty again. Tell her. What are we doing?
Okola kyekyo.
I thought we were gonna play.
Ate manyi mugenda kuzannya.
Alright, I'll play by myself.
Ngenda kuzannya nzekka.
You're ignoring me, so I guess that means you don't want to play with me.
Tomufaako. Mami tomufaako. Agenda kuzannya yekka.
I think I'll put a puzzle together.
Mama.
So right now, Mom, I'm modeling stopping. She's not following the game, so I'm not chasing her to play. I'm picking my own game, and she either gets curious or I just get to have some fun by myself, but I don't chase her. Oh, look! We put the picture together. See? Isn't that cool?
Si kirungi.
Thank you for coming over to play. I love playing with you. There you go.
Kale kwata kaadi zo. Bakuwa kaadi.
1, 2,
Emu.
3.
Satu.
Counting is a wonderful tool. Counting really helps kids with control and expectations.
9,
Mwenda.
10.
10.
Do you want more?
Bakwongera endala.
You want it on there? Okay. 1,
Emu.
2,
2.
3.
Satu.
My turn.
Kale
Kwata.
kala naye. Muwalire.
Kwata.
Muwe.
Kwata.
Muwe.
Go. Trisca, come for me.
Trisca. Emu.
One.
Emu.
One.
Emu.
Emu. You teach me. 2.
Biri.
Bidi. 3.
Satu.
Satu. 4. When she gets her hands on cards or little things like this, how long does she want to stay focused on them?
Abeera nazo bbanga lyenka.
Obudde bwonna kuba ne kusaawe ne wabeegera ng'agenda kwebaka kubanga omunaazizza ayagala agende yeebake nazo.
For as long as she holds them, she wants to keep them tight.
Okay. And the ball becomes less important, or is it because this is new?
Bubaako ne w'omulimbo kyanedda kuba emabegako abadde ng'afuna buno obumatatu. Akwata ekintu wabanga yakyagadde nnyo takiteeka
That's
wansi.
what she is normally. If she likes, she goes with cards.
Okay. So then, how come she didn't have any cards yesterday?
Embo ina naye bwabula. Eggulo mpozi wabaddewo koobu.
She didn't have the cards
Nabeerawo nga
yesterday
talina
because they
kirala
got lost.
kyakola ng'akubuuza bubu koobu.
But the moment she has them,
tabulaba.
she will ask for them. Even if she's not seeing them, she will ask for her cards.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Milly cleans and cooks and peeks and checks to make sure that her daughter's safe, but she doesn't stay to learn the technique. I need her to stay. I'm going to have to set this up differently.
More?
Bakwongere.
Or enough?
Trisca controls all her things. And then she hyper-focuses on the thing that's most important to her at that moment. Her best language seems to be controlling language, ordering people around.
Webaze mami.
Say, what was I, mommy?
Webaze mami akukiddeyo omupiira.
So what I need to do is become one of her things, so that she'll order me around, use that great language, and we can grow it from there.
But if you answer, then you can control me. Okay. See, I'm down here so I can see your eyes.
Each subtle little shift in the play is perceived by Trisca as me not being a good toy.
1,
Emu.
2,
Biri.
3,
Satu.
4,
Nya. Tano.
What's that mean?
She said it's 5. Sorry.
Oh! You're smarter than him. Oh, Mpolo? Mpolo? Mpolo?
It's important to be exciting when responding to things we like, because excitement wakes up the brain.
May I have now?
I even wait with excitement.
1.
Emu.
One.
Any attention that Trisca chooses to give me, it comes without resistance. It's much more useful and more inclined to create connection than attention that she gives me because she's forced to.
6.
Mukaga.
Nice eyes, you're so beautiful. If she gives me eye contact, because I make her give me eye contact, inside she might think, oh, I gotta look in that lady's eyes until she leaves me alone. Oh, such beautiful eyes. But if she looks at me because I was interesting, that's a different story. I love your eyes, you're so good. Very nice. Over by my eyes. Over by my eyes so I can see you. Because you're so beautiful. I love seeing your eyes, yes. One more. Oh, I can see you. Her focus is so inside the toy, and it's so much more fun than the person. She wants to do it her own way. If we force her to do it our way, she'll hide more. All right, well, I'm gonna play with the ball. Oh. But we want to keep trying. Oh, good. See, let's. Are you okay? Are you okay? And not leave her for long periods of time, doing the same thing over and over. That way she gets that good feeling that the toy gives her. And then try to play with her or get her to do something else. Yo, Django! She can go back to the toy again, over and over, millions of times, millions and millions. But try not to let her sit with it for more than 5 minutes. You guys back and forth on computer. You're cooking. You see she's doing it. You're cooking and you go, she's been quiet 5 minutes. Sing a song. The best friends always look in eyes. Clap your hands. Tickle her tummy. And then we know that we are playing together. Scratch your back. Anything. Anything that brings you back in. Sometimes you wait for an opportunity. Like maybe she goes to play with a ball for a minute. Pick them up, put them in your pocket. I got some good ones in here. Then she has to come to you for them. I have some in here. If you want more, I can get them. You can ask for her eyes. Labatunse. Ah, such beautiful eyes. You can have everything. You can ask her to count. Gamba kwata. Oh, anything will work. Good job. But involve her in some way. Oh, you want? Oh, okay. Kwata.
Kwata.
Gamba kwata.
Gamba kwata.
Oh, both of them. Good. Thank you so much. She loves this game. If she thinks you hate it, she will protect it more. If she thinks you love it too, she will share more. Right now, she's not sure with me if I'm going to love it or hate it. So she's protecting a little bit. So I'm showing her that I don't hate it, but that she's not playing with me. We could spend the whole morning teaching this. The important thing is, if you have 40 cards in your pocket and only give her 12, and she wants the other 40, you now have a counting game. Oh, do you want me to go play with the ball? 1 minute. Okay, just like I tell you. Good job. That was excellent talking to me.
That was so exciting. She's generalizing my words and my style. 1 minute. Yay! Waverly!
With a deck of cards, you can teach everything there is to know about math and about music and about relationship and about sharing and about taking turns. One deck of cards. If she loves that, her whole life. As long as you keep making it a game. 30 seconds left. Samba or kasuka?
Trisca calls her mom to come and play. She calls her to join. Please, Mama, come and join.
Together.
And Milly answers, I'm here, or hello, or yes, but she doesn't join. And this is common in homes. Very often, the parent thinks they're the one being rejected, when in fact, the parent's rejecting the child's wish to play. In Trisca's mind, I think it's Mom doing the rejecting.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I come play.
Using counting helps kids prepare for when an activity will end and we become more predictable. In autism, that's important.
That was 1 minute. Thank you for saying 1 minute. I'll get it for you. Wow, that was awesome. Can I keep? Neda? Neda. Oh, I won't then. Thank you for using your words. Awesome. Thank you for using your words.
Trisca's speech is so much clearer today, now that she knows that her words control me.
When you talk to me first.
Oh!
Okay. I will. Okay, how long? 1 minute or 2? Trisca, 1 minute or 2? Do you want me to play with patience for 1 minute or 2 minutes? 1 minute or 2? 1 or 2? Huh, I don't know what to do now.
Offering choices makes it possible for me to become one of her things. And then we play and sing and celebrate anything that she does that I want to see her do more of. And when she doesn't do it, I stop. Sort of like the toy that you wind up, and then when you ignore it for too long, it runs out of steam.
Well, I'll ask you one more time. Do you want me to play with patience 1 minute or 2? 2? Ah, English? 2?
Just say 2.
It's okay, 2. 2 is good. All right, patience. Let's go. But just so you know, Trisca, in 5 minutes, I'm going to take the computers inside. And then we're going to play the computer game.
All she did there was touch her sleeve, but she got scalded and her nose wiped very roughly. Immediately, she turned to her friend Pavi and was mean. One mean begets another. Trisca needs to feel safe to be generous. Once she knows nobody will steal from her, she can share.
Can you show me how? Okay. Okay. All right, computer time.
Communication is usually a big challenge. And from what I get from you, they can communicate verbally, can they?
Yes, completely. Let me use Rye for an example. Rye was very verbally challenged. It began with him with the words, sit down, which he couldn't walk until he was 2.5. And finally he could stand, so he would show this off and he'd stand in his high chair, and I wouldn't want him to fall because my hands are busy with all these other children. And I'd reach over and go, sit down! And his eyes would light up. And I'd think, he likes that. He likes it when I yell at him. But I didn't want to be always yelling in a mean way, so I started going, sit down! Well, it was so interesting and fun that he started going, stand up and go, sit down! And then he'd sit down. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Then I started to play with that. What I discovered was that by making the words so constantly clear and the same, and I made it always sort of rhythmic and exciting, he wanted to copy it. It was fun to say. Often the kids learn the words that are yelled at them, the angry words. And then they seem like angry children. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've seen it a lot. It's because it's exciting. It's exciting. Autistic kids just learn better in experience. When I was trying to help my children, they were getting better and getting better and getting better. Dar, the one who jumped and screamed, wasn't getting better. He was 23 years old. I had learned many things, got certified, got degrees, and still, no matter what I learned, nothing was working for him. He couldn't talk, he was still hitting himself. He loved us, but that was it. You know, it was like always uncomfortable. Thank you for coming. So I heard about this therapy called neurofeedback, which is biofeedback for the brain. Do you know what biofeedback is? Biofeedback means to have information about what's going on inside your body through instruments. So today we want to see back here, okay? And when I first heard about the possibility of putting sensors on the head and looking at your brainwave activity and changing how your brain worked, it sounded fascinating. What it does is it beeps. It makes a sound every time it wants to say yes to the brain, like a compliment to the brain, to the actual neurons in your brain. And I decided to go to this clinic 4 times a week and just keep going and having him try this new therapy to give it a fair chance. Now my son, when I met him, his hands were like this all the time. He could only let his palms touch your body if they were on your hair. For some reason, then it was okay. Otherwise, he had to keep his palms away and his chest away. I remember when he was little, and I just adopted him. I'd had him for a couple years, and I was used to holding him like this because he's pulling his body away, and I was used to it. And I picked up a neighbor's child, and she just wrapped herself around me. And I thought, oh, yes, this is how children hug. This is how it's supposed to feel. God, please, if Dar could just do this, if you could just let him do this, I promise I won't ask for another thing.
Thank you, Trisca.
I was on the 12th session, the 4th week. And we come home from the session. And I go into, and it's cold, it's snow, it's freezing. So I take off my coat, my back is to my son. I take off my coat and I hang it up. And I turn around and he says, Mom, for hug. Then he wraps his arms around me, puts his chest to me, and the flat of his hands goes on my back. And all I could think of was, somebody take a picture. Why am I the only one home seeing this? What if it never happens again? I can feel the hands on my back. It still happens. In fact, we call him the hovering hugger. It was a big moment. Since nothing else had ever healed that, and since it never went away, not ever, I knew I was onto something.
Your brain made that.
Every time it beeps, you get a little bit smarter. Every time it beeps, you get a little bit clearer. Every time it beeps, you get a little bit better at getting what you want.
It's 500 beeps though. In 500 beeps, you can get the balls to come out of the volcano. You're doing great. Computer is good for your brain. It helps you talk.
I'm trying to keep focused and make sure that we do good neurofeedback, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, where the heck is David, the camera guy? Eventually, Steve whispers in my ear that he's gone to the community center to take visuals of Relena doing vaccinations. And I'm nervous because vaccinations and autism is a very controversial subject. So as much as I'm trying to stay focused on Trisca, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to keep track of all of this and make sure that no damage is done? I came here to solve problems, not create them.
Part of how I know what sites to do on the head is what I see, but the other part is how happy she is when I do it. On this site, she likes me. On that site, she doesn't like me. This helps me to know how it's making her feel.
Explaining all of this to Milly is to help her learn how to observe change.
Number one. Just go on.
I'm trying to teach Milly how to play. And whatever she does see, she copies immediately. She saw me counting cards or puzzle pieces with Trisca, and she was immediately using counting.
What happened to 6? So when she does it, you could say, why is it the same number every time? Are you counting or just naming them this number? But you ask her. Even if she doesn't answer, it helps her to be aware that you're playing together and there's a question. and that she's confusing you. When she knows she's confusing you, in order to control you, she'll answer better. Because the game isn't going the way she wants it to. So she'll answer your question so that you stop it and go back to the other game. So every once in a while, ask. Just ask. Oh, is it tickling your ear? Oh, are we done? Okay.
It's important to always be easy and look for a behavioral connection when the sensors come off. So the sensor came off and I said, oh, it tickles. Because that way, Trisca feels like we're paying attention to her, even if it didn't tickle.
All right, I'll try not to let it tickle your ear. So, Mama, you can tell Trisca that I'm going to stay, and if she wants me to do things different, just use her words.
Telling Mama also tells Trisca.
Because I'm a good friend, and I love to listen to my friends. That's why I brought her these toys. No, it's going to come soon. 25 more beeps, and the balls will come out of the volcano. Are we done?
I allow Trisca to do it herself, and so I get cooperation. Letting a child have control drops their resistance and their alert status and their defensive maneuvering, and actually calms the sensory system.
You can put it down.
Interesting. We have the neurofeedback on Trisca's Broca area. That's the language center, but it's also a frontal area in the brain where mirror neurons are. And Trisca's copying better.
See, I'm a good friend.
Again, Milly's distracted by the behavioral component. Even though we're playing a patting, clapping game, Milly's calling it beating and hitting.
Do you want to wear the earring now? Yeah? Yes or no? Oh!
I need to get her to wear the ear clips at some point because right now I'm still contaminating the EEG by wearing them myself. We're getting some EEG training and we're getting some neurofeedback effects. She's definitely calmer today. Her speech is definitely better today. But until she wears those ear clips herself, I'm not going to be able to get a clear sense of where the seizures are.
Is there a problem?
She says she has a problem with putting anything on
Okay, it's normal. I go through this every time. Eventually she will. As long as she knows it's her choice. Trisca, laba! Laba! Vampira! Vampira! Trisca, you did it! Yay!
Finally, she cares about the computer. She's not one of those kids that goes, oh wow, a video screen, and is all into it. I had to find a way to get her interest. And I did that because I pointed out balls. She likes balls. We used a ball game. We followed her interest.
You did that with your brain. That's why I put that on your head.
I may be having trouble getting Milly to see the value of play, but she certainly sees the value of neurofeedback. Milly is connecting the balls coming out the goal in the game with the healing of her daughter's brain. It's a common misconception. In fact, it's the beeps that are healing her brain.
Tonight, same thing. If she has a very hard time sleeping or appears weak and sick, then it's withdrawal.
At this point, I'm getting concerned that we haven't connected with the doctor. It's very important that we have medical advice and that there's somebody on the ground here after I leave that's helping Trisca and Milly. Of course, I'm also concerned that the doctor here might not really know what he's dealing with when it comes to autism in Trisca. One step at a time.
I'm not going to do any more computer today, and I want to sort of stay around for that 20 minutes, half an hour, see how she does. And then tomorrow is at the hotel, all day. You be our guest. Trisca, tomorrow you come to my hotel and play in my hotel room.
I had no idea that Milly would have never been to a hotel before and that this would be such a big moment for her.
It's cool, yeah.
Do you want to play a little bit?
Yeah.
You want me to get out? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, you were good. It's you can be the boss. I'm gonna get out. Aww. What are you doing? Grasshoppers, awesome! No, I've been wanting to try. Will you make me some? Actually, they're full of protein. There's so many grasshoppers where I live. So we're always joking that if the war comes and we have no food, we can go outside with a net and grab all the grasshoppers and be fine. So show me how you do this. You take the legs and the wings off? Show me, what do you do here?
You catch like this
So just take off the legs and stuff?
and remove.
I'm sorry. I'm just doing it for a cultural experience, okay?
Yep, you have to touch that. You have to touch the
I'm
ash.
asking forgiveness first. Okay. What do I do with this though? Oh, I can't do it! All right, gonna try again. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be African. Give me a second. Oh my gosh.
Catch like this.
Hold it like that, and then pull. Ah! My soul says, "Oh, you poor grasshopper! I'll eat you if you're already dead." Okay, one more time. I'm not gonna scream. Did I wreck it?
Catch this one.
Okay. All right, this part in here, and then you just go like that. I'm African. I didn't scream. I pulled his legs off. Okay, now do I do the head too?
Bench.
What do you do with the head? Well, what part? Okay, so then I hold there and pull this part off?
Yes.
Okay, and that's it? No, he still has a tail. Yours don't have tails, so take the tail off. Okay, he's still alive.
We're so good.
Okay, get that part. Wow! Ah! I'm strong! I did it! Yes! Thank you. Hi! You're so good. Where's your ball? Where's your ball? May I sit with you? Yeah? Okay, well, I'm gonna sit. You don't answer. Huh. Wow, there's an airplane.
Yeah.
Very good. See it?
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, plane. Bye.
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 This looks like a small seizure. I'm not sure.
Kasuka!
Kasuka.
Did I not say it right? Kasuka! Oh, I love your eyes! Kasuka!
Interestingly enough, once we all shared some excitement together and got to wave at the plane, it brought out a kind of generosity of spirit in Trisca, and she invited Pavi to sit down and shared with me. It was awesome.
Can we have the eyes? Can we have the eyes? Thank you. Here. Okay, I think this one goes with the arm. Let's see. Oh, that's so good. You want me to hold it for you? Excitement focuses brains. Anger focuses brains. So if we don't teach excitement, what do you think we're going to teach? Temper tantrums, anger. That's why the kids often learn the words, don't stop, that kind of stuff, because they were focused by it in the same way that, it just jars you awake. So excitement is a better way to live. And that was the difference between my at home and my out in the world that I brought forward into the world. By using excitement, I can teach language. And I can be excited for hours and hours and hours, and it doesn't make me tired, it makes me energized. But angry, all they learn is those few words, and then they feel awful, and then you feel awful, and it sort of goes downhill. So that's why I'm here, because I think I have gifts to share, even if it isn't this therapy that I can't hand it to you. I can at least share the experience that I have from having been involved for so long and seen so many styles of teaching. Are you walking me to the car? You're so nice. The poor brain. It's not doing so well.
At this point, I've seen the sign and been informed of the vaccines, but we gotta leave, and Relena's nowhere to be found. And I don't see any people, so I have no idea what's going on.
Come sit with me.
Today, Trisca leaves with no dragging, no screaming, because I explained and explained and explained.
Tomorrow, you're gonna go in this car and come to the hotel. It's pretty hot in here though, so you don't want to stay long. So I'm gonna put the brain in, Trisca. I'm gonna put the brain in, and I'm gonna put my suitcase in, and then you go out. Okay? After I put the brain in and the suitcase in, you go out. 1 minute.
For her, everything is about bad manners. She's constantly being distracted by them. I need her to stay and watch if she's going to learn what she needs to learn in such a short amount of time.
Okay, time to come out. Oh, good job. Let's go. You can't go in again. It's time to go home. Ewaka. Ewaka. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye. Gamba, bye. Thank you. are you laughing about?
We're just talking about some old lady there.
Oh.
Talks a lot.
Oh. That was good.
So,
it was good because.
Brought us the Google Docs. How do you fix that?
Except you have to promise me I get to eat a grasshopper. Do you want me to play with patience 1 minute or 2? 2? Ah, English? 2? Very good. You have to do fun things.
Mulina okukola ebintu ebinyumira abaana temubabowa.
Sometimes I sing.
Oluusi bayinza okuba nga bayimba naye nga bwe temukimanyi.
So I'm coming close to the child and I sing, computer is good for your brain. Take it away, guys.
Computer is good for your brain. Computer is good for your brain. It helps you think, it helps you talk, it helps you get whatever you want. Computer is good for your brain.
Awesome!
Mbakulire kagalo bannange.
I don't sing it in harmony.
Computer is good for your brain. Computer is good for your brain. It helps you think, it helps you talk, it helps you get whatever you want. Computer is good for your brain.
That's how you get a green line, is the wave gets bigger.
Yes.
And here you get a red line when it's bigger because we want those less.
These ones are less, these ones are bigger.
Right, we want these ones to get bigger and these ones to get smaller.
Lillian, come and see this. You're just laughing.
But when you touch it won't work. Thank you, honey.
Yes.
So don't mess with it too much when it does that. Just leave it.
Okay, because we throughout his was like
If his
really,
are this
yeah,
thick,
yeah,
that's
thick.
okay.
That's
That's
okay.
okay.
It's this and the average.
Right, like right now we put 37, 14, 5.